Welcome back. This is chapter 4, The Enemy, written by Pearl S. Buck. And today I'm going to explain page number 29 to you. So here we go. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police, as indeed we must, said thou. So she wanted to make her intentions very clear, and she wanted to put things very plainly before the servants that their planning was to hand him over to the police after his recovery, and they were going to be true to every words that they promised to the servants. We must think of the children and your positions, he said, or that they need to think of his position, that is Dr. Sadal's position, and also of the well-being of the children. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war, and if they did not hand him over to the police. In that case, it would put everyone of the family in trouble, in danger. Certainly, Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else, and Sadao agreed to every word spoken by his wife, and he said he would not think of doing anything else. Thus agreed together they lifted the man. So having agreed upon those points, they lifted the man together. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half-starved for a long time, until it is only feathers and skeleton. He was very light in weight. He just felt like a fowl, a hen, that had been half-starved, that had been half-fed for a very long time, until there remain only feathers and skeletons. So, his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. So was the condition of this man. Even he was reduced to a bony structure, and his arms, when they carried, they hung loose. They carried him up the steps now, and then they went into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and this door opened into a passage. After entering the door, there appeared a long passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. And as they walked down the passage, there came an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadal's father, and since his death it had not been used. The empty bedroom that they moved in belonged to Sadal's father, and ever since his death had not been used, had not been opened. Say, they led the man on the deeply matted floor. Now here, reaching or moving in this room, they led the man on the floor, of which the matting was quite deep, quite thick. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man. Every single item in this room was locally manufactured. This was done to please the old man. That is, his father was very particular. He was a nationalist, he was a fundamentalist, he was an orthodox, and did not like any foreign item in his room. Who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed, who would never ever sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. He was very particular. A true nationalist, Hannah went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. Now she went to a cupboard, the cupboard that was made into the wall, and she slid the door of the cupboard, and from there she removed a soft quilt. She hesitated. The quilt was covered with flowered silk, and the lining was pure white silk. She hesitated for a moment. She was reluctant over using this quilt for this man. "He is so dirty," she murmured in distress. She was quite in pain over using the quilt for that dirty man. Yes, he had better be washed, Sadao agreed. Sadao said that yes, he needed washing. "If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him." He said, "If you brought me hot water, I could give him, or I would give him a wash." "I cannot bear for you to touch him," she said. "We shall have to tell the servants he's here." "I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children for a few minutes, and she can wash him." So she said, Hannah proposed that they must tell the servants about his presence, and that she said she could not bear that he touched this man, or that he gave this dirty man a washing. Then she said she would tell Yumi now, and she could leave the children for a while and could give him a wash. Sadao considered a moment. "Let it be so." And Sadao considered for a moment, for a while, and he said, "Okay, fine, let it be so." He agreed. "You tell Yumi, and I will tell the others." He said, "Okay, fine. You go and tell Yumi, and let me inform the other servants." But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. Before he stood up, he looked at the man's face. It was completely white, colorless, and so he was forced to first check his pulse. It was faint, but it was there. The pulse was there, though it was faint, though it was low, it was still there. He put his hand against the man's cold breath, and then he just checked. He felt his breath. It was there, it was cold, though. The heart, too, was yet alive, and even the heart was responding. "He will die unless he is operated on," Sadao said, considering. Okay, so here Sadao said that he must be operated. There is only one way to save him. The question is whether he will not die anyway. And then I thought over the question whether he would not die anyway, because even after the treatment he would have to be handed over to the police, and there he would be executed. Hannah cried out in fear, "Don't try to save him. What if he should live?" So Hannah was in fear. She was terrified at the thought of the man living, at the thought of the man, the enemy soldier, saved by the doctor. So she urged him not to try to save him, because if he survived, If he recovered, then in that case there would be a lot of questioning from the police. What if he should die? Sada replied. And then he asked the question, if he died, what then? Because again, in such a case, there would be a lot of complications because the body had to be disposed of. So, this is all for now. Thank you.